Hey, this is Scott of photography.bonza.com. Today I wanted to talk about another somewhat controversial topic of camera equipment and people's perceptions of certain brands, like, oh, if you want to be a pro, only use this brand and that brand. I really don't think that is necessary, needed, or justified. A person can easily use Pentax or Olympus 4/3 camera to shoot a wedding. Be just fine for them if they can use that tool properly, because all of them are very similar these days. Output, even with a smaller sensor like a Micro Four Thirds, is definitely good enough. There's the Olympus OM5 EM, no, it's a OMD EM5. That's a really nice camera. It's small, it's functional, it has a good sensor inside. So I really don't think the brand used, and specifically the two large brands, although I will admit I am going to Nikon for very specific reasons. I wanted a full frame camera. There are only a few options there. We've got the Canon, Nikon, Sony, maybe a few other outliers, I don't know offhand, but very specific reasons that aren't necessarily justified in the grand scheme of your final result. But basically, let's say, here's a little story. It was somewhat recently, doing a group photo session with multiple models and multiple people. This model person tells me, oh, you're shooting a Pentax. Why are you using that? And they basically didn't understand anything about it. And their friend, of course, used a certain brand that gave them wonderful photos. Ooh, great. But the session didn't really last that long, and I don't know, it might have been their poor perceptions of a certain type of equipment, their attitude, that just didn't work out. But it's really not the brand of equipment, it's the specific features and the specific small things, because they are very similar these days. If you've got a Pentax, you've got a Sony, just use that and utilize it to the fullest degree that you can possibly do, and you will get good results. Don't use a lens. It's simple things like, don't use a kit lens at the widest focal length with the widest aperture. You can expect a photo that is not sharp unless you know specifically that lens will work well at a certain aperture and certain focal length. Or use a prime lens that not at its widest aperture but at f5.6 to get as sharp as photo possible. It's simple things where it's not the brand, it's how you use the tool. So if you have any more topics or subtopics on that you want to add, feel free to in the comment section. I'll throw my 2 cents in as well. Thanks.